by the power of Grayskull.
Hi everyone, it's me. Welcome back. Today is May 2nd, 2026 at 8:53 p.m. So I have been pretty busy doing some spring cleaning and getting some stuff done today, and kind of having a chill out day. But I turned on my YouTube. I'm going to try to put a screenshot in the beginning of this, so you've probably seen it from Nancy Grace from yesterday. And I guess this 11 missing scientists thing is topic of discussion lately. A few people have asked me about it, but I just didn't really have time to look into it. I've been working on my content and stuff like that, but I finally did. And I know MSN isn't the best, but there's not really all that the best out there. And I was looking for a list of the scientists and such, and their pictures are all here. I will play this clip for you. Funny enough, it's 33 seconds long. Yeah. So I hope you're all doing well. I hope that you are enjoying your weekend. I know I am, even though people think like, oh, house cleaning. No, I greatly enjoy it. I went for a walk today later in the afternoon because I thought it was going to pour down rain. But all is well here. So, sorry to digress all over the place, but I just sat down to look at this. So I haven't actually looked at it fully myself. We will just take a look at this video. And then I will scroll down and we will talk about each case with people. I did look at the first one, so I already have a little bit of an idea about that. But then we will go from there. Okay? So let me play this for us. I couldn't find where the little sound button was, but now I can see it. Turn it up. Okay, so I'm just going to go right back to the start because it's stupid at the front, so I had to find a good starting screenshot. So here we go.
The FBI is now investigating the deaths and disappearances of 10 U.S. scientists, including 4 from L.A., all tied to sensitive research. Now, among them, Caltech astrophysicist Carl Grillmeyer was fatally shot at his home in February. A suspect has been charged with his murder. While no connections between the cases have been confirmed, officials are treating the incidents as a potential national security concern. NASA and Caltech are cooperating with authorities as the investigations continue. Up next, the FBI is...
Okay. So I don't think it's a national security thing. I don't think it's a foreign entity taking these people out or anything like that. I definitely think it's an internal thing, if anything. And feel it would be internal. But let's just go down the list. Now, when we see... Hold on just one second, because I want to talk about this before I forget. Hang on, just let me get this fella here. The first fella that they said was fatally shot outside his home. Hang on. This man here. Now, I don't know him at all. I've never heard of this fella. But just looking at him, he seems like a nice fella. His energy feels good, But again, I don't know him. All right? And there's something I want to bring up to everybody so that you understand this. Sometimes really kind, intelligent people that have a lot going for them, and that some people look on the outside like he might not have lived very lavishly. He might have been doing good for himself. Who knows, right? But jealousy isn't a problem. Lots of people get jealous. Oh, I wish I had long hair like her. That's not a problem. But the problem is envy. Envy is a problem. And when people start to envy another individual, it starts to become obsessive, and then they end up on their front lawn and they shoot them dead. Okay? So I just want to bring up that factor. I'm not saying that this is what happened to this guy, but that stuff does 100% happen. All right? 100% that happens. So when you're a nice person and you're friendly and people like you, there's a lot of people that are going to hate you for that, and that will shoot you dead, that would rather see you dead because it burns them so much. You see what I'm saying? So I just want to say that to start off, okay? I thought about this guy. Seems like a nice enough fella, just by looking at him in his eyes. So it's a holistic review, and like they said, there's been they have not confirmed any connection between these cases, okay? The Trump administration has directed federal agencies to investigate whether a series of deaths and disappearances among scientists with high-level security clearances are linked. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed the probe following reports that 11 individuals tied to sensitive military, nuclear, and aerospace research have been affected. What we know. Leavitt stated that the administration is working with the FBI and the Department of Energy. Oh, yeah, I'm sure they're going to help. To identify if they probably did it. No, we're going to investigate this, and we find that there's absolutely that there's no mystery whatsoever, because they're involved with it. Department of Energy, that's what we're dealing with. Gravity modification is different. Oh my goodness. Anyway. Okay. Meanwhile, the House Oversight Committee on Monday requested information from the FBI and other federal agencies about the scientists and other personnel connected to the U.S. nuclear secrets or rocket technology who have died or mysteriously vanished in recent years. The review includes 4 prominent researchers from Los Angeles County with ties to top-tier institutions. Now, this was really strange when I first read this, and I'm not laughing, and nothing's funny about this, but I will tell you exactly what my inside voice said to me, and I did laugh, but I was half very serious, okay? So listen to this. Missing since June 2025. Background: Monica Jacinto Reza. Reza was an aerospace engineer and materials processor who worked for both NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena and Aerojet Rocketdyne. She was known for developing and patenting a specialized type of metal. Metal. Okay, what do they need that for? Their spacecraft they make. Okay? So this automatically, number one, connects it to these secret black projects. Okay? But listen to this. She disappeared while hiking with a friend near Mount Waterman in the Angeles National Forest. There's a national forest. According to her companion, they were roughly 30 feet apart when they made eye contact. She smiled and waved to indicate she was fine. Moments later, when the friend turned around again, she had vanished. You know what my inside voice said? Holy guacamole, somebody called David Paulides. We have a missing 411 case. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. She just vanished. Now, I don't know about Mount Waterman, okay? The possibility that somebody popped out of a military hideaway hole and scooped her up without her making a sound is a possibility. But without her making a sound is 30 feet away, she would have heard something. Now, with the cases in David Paulides, this happens all the time in national forests where people go missing. They just vanish. Some of them are never found again. And when some of them are found, they're found in some of the most peculiar circumstances, and their clothes are folded with their shoes next to it. It is the most bizarre thing ever. But again, I really do feel like this is that interdimensional reality where there are portals and such. And if she was working on something that even these other dimensional type beings didn't want our governments to even obtain, maybe they took her. I'm just going to theorize here, okay? I'm not going to say this is a for sure thing. I'm only giving you my best guess. But that's very bizarre that she just vanished. And I covered missing 411 cases before, where there's stuff like this happen all the time. Little kids, you know, a lot of people that aren't able to verbally communicate to tell anyone what happened, like with autism or something. Even like up to 13 years old, but he's autistic, so he doesn't speak. So they can never really figure out what happened to him. Yeah, there's the most bizarre cases where people just disappear. And it's lucky if they show back up again, you know, because some of them are found face down with no physical injuries whatsoever. I mean, they could have died of hypothermia, but some of them weren't out there long enough to have died from that or been in conditions to have that, okay? So I would recommend you to listen to those cases for yourself, prove things for yourself. This fella is a retired park ranger. There's quite the story with that. And one of the things that I thought was the most bizarre is when I first listened to David Paulides and his story, is that when he tried to get these national parks to reveal like a list of missing persons, first they wouldn't give it to him, and then they wanted to charge him like millions of dollars for it. It was the most crazy thing I've ever heard, but it's true. They tried to tell him that they didn't keep records, all kinds of stuff. It's really interesting, but that's the first thing I thought of. And these things with these even natural portals out there, you won't see them. And some people walk right into them and they don't realize that they have. Now, there's a connection to this, I know. All right, I know you're going to be like, what? But it's true, okay? There's this channel. I'll try to bring up a screenshot of her channel. And she does deep research into the investigation. I know, please bear with me. Fairies. But I talked about this before, that these are of the unseen realm. Like even Elena Danan has this fella. I'll try to bring up a screenshot. I covered it before. And he's clearly of the Fae. There's different Archelios or something. There's different hierarchies of these beings. And I cannot for the life of me remember what she called them, but I connected it to the Fae. It's not a joke. These are the beings of the unseen realm. You know? Yeah. So when we have these interdimensional portals, this is what a lot of the times we're dealing with. These beings that we've always been dealing with. So being whisked away by the fairies isn't always an excuse for dirty deeds done back in the day that they tried to excuse away, okay? It's not just that. That used to be a thing people would say. But it has some facts behind it. And so the fact that they were 30 feet apart, and I mean, this is how Bigfoot would interdimensionally travel, because they probably have the ability to sense where these things are and maybe even the eyesight to see them. All right? This is where it connects to the interdimensional factor, where they're there 1 minute and then they run and they've disappeared. Well, I mean, I've talked about this before, where there are also spots they probably know of that they could go underground and hide or whatever, but it really does seem to have an interdimensional connection. And again, this is why you see a lot of UFO around where Bigfoot is sighted, okay? So this first case, okay, because despite extensive research and rescue efforts, her body has never been found. Yeah, of course not, because they took her. Investigators have noted that her professional past overlapped with other missing figures in the field. including former colleague retired Air Force Major General William Neil McCasland, who oversaw projects involving her research. Well, he's probably went there too. They probably went to the same place. I mean, this is the thing. You got to remember that whatever this higher society is and whichever section of the government works with them would obviously have connection with these interdimensional beings. So that seems like, I mean, that's the most logical thing, that they went to the same place. Well, he probably couldn't. He oversees the projects, but he probably needed what's her name because she does this and that. So they're like, okay, well, we'll go catch what's her name. Monica. Forgive me. Okay, let me see. No, that ain't right. Why is it over? Oh, continue reading. Sorry. Okay, so Carl Grillmare, Caltech and NASA IPAC. So he died February 16th, 2026. Grillmare was a renowned 67-year-old astrophysicist at Caltech's infrared. That's that fella. See, he was renowned. So he must have been pretty popular. 67 years old. Holy crap, he didn't look it. If that was a recent picture, he definitely didn't look it. Somebody was probably seriously envious of that fella, and they shot him. He was infamous. Oh, the dark matter, eh? Sorry. He was famous for discovering water on a distant exoplanet and for his work on dark matter and galactic structures using the Spitzer Space Telescope. I always thought that the dark matter was just out of our light spectrum, like from what we can see. And if there is something there, we just can't see it, for one thing. In like the energy frequency and vibration that we're at right now, even as a planet or whatever, I don't know. But I always thought there was something about the dark matter. Like it wasn't empty, that there's something in it. We just can't see what's there. So, I don't know. It's interesting. But that's what I think, so and feel. He was gunned down on the front porch of his home in Lano in the Antelope Valley. Authorities arrested 29-year-old Freddie Schneider in connection with the shooting and a nearby carjacking. It was later revealed that Schneider had been arrested months earlier for trespassing on Grillmare's property while armed with a rifle. Yeah. He might have just been a troubled individual and, didn't like this fella. Encountered him before and then decided to come back. Maybe they had an encounter. We just don't know. But there doesn't seem to be anything suspicious. So, but I don't know. A rifle's a pretty serious weapon, so that seems with intent. But anyway, there doesn't seem anything suspicious with that. These things sometimes unfortunately happen. He was famous for discovering water on a disc. Maybe this fella was just disgruntled, about this fella's accomplishments in life. Some people just won't like you because other people do. That's it. Michael David Hicks died July 30th, 2023. Background: a resident of Sunland, Hicks was a veteran research assistant at JPL for 24 years. He was a highly respected physicist specializing in the physical properties of comets and asteroids. He served on a high-profile teams for the DART project. Oh, okay. And tracking Cape and the Dawn mission passed away. The cause of death was never made public. Well, that doesn't indicate suspicion. I mean, 59 isn't super old, but, well, it's almost 60. I don't even know what he looked like. Here, let's see. Hold on. Well, I don't know how old this picture is here, but that's him. And the thing of it is, sometimes people just pass away as well, Heart attack, he could have had any kind of condition. So just because, it was never made public, they wanted to be private. But that doesn't indicate that there's anything suspicious about it, you know? So there's that one. I mean, he could have just died of natural causes. It was just his time. So I don't know why anybody, I mean, yeah, even if highly respected physicists specializing in the physical properties of comets and asteroids still get old and they pass away. Just like Eric von Daniken. Somebody thinks there's something weird about his death. I'm going to look into that one too. But honestly, with respect, because we all get old. I'm not shaming anybody for being old. Somebody got so mad at me for being like, Alex Collier's too old for this. He should know better. And well, he should. But it's not about shaming people because they're old. Everybody gets old. I'm going to get old one day. And Eric von Daniken was old. With respect. He was. And what is he supposed to do? Just live forever? No. People get old and they pass away. So I don't know. I'm going to have to look at that one too and see why people think there's anything weird about that. There's nothing weird about getting older and just passing away. So, right. Did I get the right one? Okay. Frank Mywald or whatever. Mywald. Again, 61. Cause of death was never made public. Yeah, but why is this weird, you guys? He died July 4th, 2024. Mywald, was 61-year-old principal researcher at JPL. He was a highly specialized engineer who designed critical instruments for space missions. Well, that sucks. They lost him. At the time of his death, he was working on surface biology and geology, the SBG mission, designing visible to shortwave infrared instrument to instrument to map Earth's living color. He also worked on programs to help astronauts identify signs of life on icy moons like Europa or Enceladus. Mywald died in Los Angeles on July 4th, 2024. His cause of death was never made public. The White House and House Oversight Committee, notably Representative Eric Burleson, have flagged these cases due to their proximity of the scientists to JPL and their access to sensitive aerospace and planetary defense data. Okay. Here are the other 7 individuals whose death or disappearances is under investigation. Amy Eskridge. Amy Eskridge died on June 11, 2022 in Huntsville, Alabama. Well, authorities officially ruled her death a self-inflicted gunshot wound. See, I did not know, honestly, how she died. At least I don't think I did. Maybe I did and I just forgot. Honestly, I forgot my laundry downstairs and I thought it was somebody else's and I was waiting for them to come get it until I realized that it was mine. So sometimes I just forget shit. There's a lot in my head, I think. The memory's full. Okay, so several factors have contributed to the ongoing public debate and intense scrutiny surrounding the case. In interviews and podcasts reported prior to her death, notably 2020-2021, Eskridge alleged that she and her team were being subjected to harassment and psychological warfare intended to stop her work on anti-gravity and exotic physics at the Institute for Exotic Science. Yeah. Well, I've been thinking about that a little more because some people are pretty disgruntled that I support the fact that it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound, that she took her own life, and it's sad and tragic. But you see, I saw this one video where they had taken a clip out of that interview that only has one side of the audio, where she talks about her and the boyfriend, and I'm pretty sure she's talking about Frank Milburn. Pretty sure. But they were in her apartment, and, you know, she said that some people had come into her house and looked through her stuff. And that there was somebody outside when she was talking about a license plate, trying to get the license plate. They came and changed the license plate. You know, I listened to her. I didn't know her, and I would like every bit of me to be wrong, and that maybe, you know, for the best that she isn't even dead. But the thing is that I heard her that she likes to smoke weed and drink, okay? And with respect, because I know from experience, this can affect your mental state. All right? I've had some times where now I've had to reduce the THC in my weed quite a bit, okay? But over the years, I've had notable times where I've realized, I'm like, holy crap, the weeds made me paranoid. And it does do this. And sometimes it makes you think bizarre things, especially when you are into some of the things that I am. So I'll give you an example. There was this fella called Gary something or other. I might just talk about this a little bit more right after this part of the video. But he was convinced that reptilians were taking over. One guy held a news reporter at gunpoint. And sometimes the interdimensional reality, the fact that these beings can basically beam into, well, not beam in like Star Trek, but kind of pop into your living room, being interdimensional, sometimes pushes people to the limits because they won't sleep because they'll be afraid that these beings are going to come in at any time, night or day. You see what I'm saying? So it causes a lot of psychological and emotional distress for individuals. And I just feel that I'm not saying that those things that Amy said is true, but you have to understand that sometimes the pressure of these things, like especially psychological warfare, I think even on the comments of the video, if you see Amy's, the L5 Huntsville, Alabama Institute, that little video I fixed up and put out in honor of her, there's a lot of people that are saying, oh, I could have done it better. Oh, she was just some woman, you know. I think that she probably, and feel probably that she faced a lot of harassment, and in that way, for absolute sure, that just being a woman was enough. And I know you don't think so, but just go and read the comments. A lot of them are good, but some of them are clearly showing some displeasure to the fact that she was in the position that she was in. And there's some people that just don't like that. And they will harass you and they will say terrible things to try to bring you down in any way they can. Just like the people who come in my live streams and bring up Mr. Sweet Cheeks and the fact that he died to upset me purposely. And you can see this happen. You see what I'm saying? So I know that people are like this. But I also know that she was struggling. And this is not to disrespect Amy. She was. So, I mean, I was thinking about what's his name? Phil Schneider. His death was bizarre because I don't know. I am like 99% sure that it states that he did shoot himself, but he shot himself in the back of the head and twice. So I don't know how someone would do that. That one was always pretty bizarre that I never forgot. Now, I will, before we move on, I will check to make sure. Because we were going to look at those two fellas, and one guy was convinced this other fellow was a reptilian, and he was a pastor or whatever, and again, he probably had a strong chi, and when you have a strong life force and energy, you heal very quickly. It doesn't mean that's because your cells respond. Listen, this is common. I heal pretty quickly too. My immune system is like an entire army of samurai and expert ninjas. They're unbelievably powerful. So I never get sick. And it was like this until after I was a teenager, because I used to get the flu and stuff like that. And that was my, you never heard of the flu being frequency light upgrade? I always thought that was such a cool little thing for that. But yeah, I used to get the flu every year until I think it was when I entered high school. And then after that, I just never got it again. So, yeah. So, I mean, like, I get like a sinus cold and stuff like that. But that's been for a while. Like, the last time I was sick, I didn't know what was wrong with me. You're like, oh, you got a cold. I'm like, a fucking cold? I hadn't had one so long, I didn't know what it was. So, yeah. But yeah, this guy healed so quickly because of his strong chi. But, so I've seen a lot of different things being said, but, the stress of things, and not just with her work, but with life in general. And even she stated that she has trouble in her personal relationships, didn't have many friends, always had trouble with men, And again, I'm not judging, I feel that. So, and that's a lot of the things that happens with smart, beautiful, shining bright women that are up and coming in the world, and doing good things. People just don't really like you. Some people will, but some people won't. And there'll be some people that wish that they could be you when they can't, Like, I told some of those salty ass people in the comments, I said, well, if you fucking think, excuse my language, sorry, that if you think you can do it better than her, then by all means, go on then. Do it. Jeez Louise. So, just go and read those comments, you'll see. That's what kind of people she faced. Especially if she was online in any way. See, now, I didn't know Amy Ashbridge existed until a couple of years ago. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not even that long ago. Until after she was already gone. So I definitely didn't know about her in 2022. So, it's just a shame. Because a lot of online harassment and bullying takes out a lot of people. Like I described again, I will put up a picture of her right now when I edit this video. But there's a young lady called Suli. Okay, I don't know what her last name is. She was part of a K-pop group called FX, and she was literally bullied right to death. And she ended up taking her own life on live stream. And as she was actively dying, and they didn't know, she just said she was tired. But when she went to sleep that night, that girl never woke up. Okay? And it is unbelievably sad and tragic, because she was such a beautiful, bright young lady with so much talent. And they bullied this girl to death online. Yeah. And so these things happen. And the same thing, like what was going on with David Wilcock. You know, he was already having such mental struggles. And he definitely didn't need to be harassed for, I mean, the gay stuff and all of that nonsense was ridiculous. You know? Call him out for doing wrong, sure. But you didn't need to torture him right to death about, you know, things. He's not even gay. Like, and if he was, who gives a shit? But just, you know, there was some things that were totally unnecessary. And these are the results, you know. We don't know what kind of battles people are fighting behind closed doors. Just like Jordan Sather said, like what you saw on David Wilcock's live streams isn't accurately who he was. You know? Very different. So, and that's why I said, like, this is why actors make me uncomfortable. Because they can put on any face they want you to see. You know? That's why I didn't like it. I didn't want to get into that. So, there's that one. It's just really sad. And the whole direct energy weapon thing, I do understand that there are high frequency weapons that can change a person's thought patterns, affect the nervous system, and different things like this. It's possible. But I still stick to the fact that, you know, this was self-inflicted and it's truly tragic. They do this to people, though. They'll drive them right over the edge. Even using people in your life, like relationships, to do it. And we're not just dealing with the seen realm. We're dealing with the unseen. We're dealing with the spiritual. This is also a spiritual battle, which they've been telling us for ages. So, and that's a big part of it. Like, I talked about Max Spears. This is exactly what I was talking about. You know, these unseen entities that will affect the mind as well. And I totally believe that that's exactly what happened to Max Spears. He even said so, that he was dealing with these types of things. You know? So, and Sarah Adams too. Why do you think she was screaming, "Oh, they won't let me die," in those videos? Well, because there's a big interdimensional reality about it. That's why I called them soul eaters. They're making a collection, so they'll just use you and then they'll watch you fall, do stuff to make this happen and enjoy that, and then take you out one way or the other. Usually, preferably, to get you to take yourself out. Because that's like the quote-unquote ultimate FU to the divine creator, right? Yeah. So there is like these connections to, you know, demons and fallen angels, because that's what they want. You know, the ultimate sin or whatever, you know? Okay, so Nuno Lori, I don't know how to say that, forgive me. He died on December 15, 2025. He was fatally shot in Brookline, Massachusetts home, an act authorities have linked to a suspect also responsible for a mass shooting at Brown University days earlier. The primary suspect, Claudio Manuel Neves Valente, was found dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound in New Hampshire 3 days later. Was the director of MIT's Plasma Science and Fusion and a world-renowned expert in nuclear fusion and magnetic connection. I don't see really anything suspicious about that either. You know, some people, for mass shooting at Brown University. It just seems like a disturbed person. Unfortunate, his name is Claudio. But, again, I mean, plasma science and fusion, yeah. World-renowned expert, well, could have just been at the wrong place at the wrong time. The guy just walking down the street decided to kill him. Maybe he didn't even know who he was. So, and it's unfortunate, but these things happen. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that it was some MK Ultra subject. That's what I was kind of thinking, like with mass shootings and stuff like this. And again, there are these technologies that it's like a high frequency weapon, and it affects your nerve. It'll cause you anxiety and make you not understand where that's coming from, and then it just kind of spirals out depending on what they do with that. But it's not like this is happening all over the place, and I don't know the exact range. We don't know. Not everything is connected with satellites and shit like that. So there is stuff like that. But that doesn't necessarily mean this is that, you know? This could have just been someone, like I said, who had pretty much snapped and lost it and just decided to take their anger or whatever going on out at the world, a mass shooting, and then just shot some guy. You know? He could have been walking down the street and just decided to shoot him. Okay, so Jason Thomas, a scientist director at Avaris, went missing from his home in Wakefield, Massachusetts. In December 2025, his body was recovered from Lake Quannapowitt in March 2026, 3 months after he went missing. Police have found no evidence of foul play, but he went missing from his home. No evidence of foul play. So maybe he wasn't missing from his home. He just went for a walk. No one knew that he went there and had a heart attack, fell in the lake, and died. Coulda. No police. No, they found no evidence of foul play. I don't even know what the hell that means. So maybe this is just too vague. I don't know. Okay, here's one. General William Neal McCasland, retired Air Force official, known for his leadership at the Air Force Research Laboratory. Hang on. In Albuquerque, New Mexico, went missing from his home in Albuquerque on February 27th, 2026. His phone, prescription glasses, and wearable devices were found at home, but his hiking boots, wallet, and .38 caliber revolver were reported missing, according to Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office. McCaslin was linked to identify aerial phenomena and UAP research in the 2026 WikiLeaks release of John Podesta's email. John Podesta. The messages highlighted his former leadership, Roswell-related UFO theories. That seems like something was going on. He grabs his phone, or he leaves his phone and his glasses. He grabs his gun because he needs that for sure. Maybe he needed only prescription glasses. Do you wear them all the fucking time? Maybe he didn't care. He was in a rush. He put his boots on, grabbed his gun, and he was going after something. Again, just theorizing. I don't know for sure. He left his phone and his wearable devices at home. Yeah, slapped on his hiking boots. Why would you grab your fucking wallet, though? That's weird. And your gun. Huh. And he was never found? He never came back? Well, if... see, this is another thing. So, sometimes, like with Ning Li, Dr. Ning Li, who was also thought missing and, all this conspiracy nonsense. I did a video on that a while ago. She was never missing. She went to go and work for the black projects and such, secret projects that the public, aren't privy to. And that makes me think there's other people that this has happened to. And sometimes when it happens, we don't know in the circumstances in which it does. So like I said, I don't know for what reason you would put your hiking boots on, grab your wallet and your .38 caliber revolver. But he probably thought he needed the gun for some reason, right? Again, this is a military individual, so that's kind of a go-to thing, I suppose, for somebody like that. I don't know. But he could have just went to go work for somewhere that we don't know about and didn't tell anybody. And even if, sorry, some people have like families. Well, some people don't even like their families. So they're looking for a way out and be like, sure, I'll go to work and just disappear. F my family. See you later. That does happen. So, Minister, sorry, I was reading that in my head. I apologize. And I just need a break for 1 second. I gotta pee. Sorry.